Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were married for 11 years. When they divorced in 2001, there was no cheating scandal, no public implosion, no tabloid villain. What ended their marriage was quieter and far more common. A power imbalance that never fully corrected, belief systems that stopped aligning, and two people growing in different directions. It's a story about how love can exist and still not be enough.
But Nicole was a major part of your life and a love of your life at the time.
I loved Nick very much. There's no question.
Would you like Nicole to remarry?
Yes. I want Nicole to be happy. That's what I want.
Was running from my life at that time. I wasn't able to handle the reality of my life. And as an actor, you have this wonderful thing where you can go and get lost in somebody else's life.
I shot the hours directly after my marriage fell apart, and so actually a waitress in a restaurant that I'd gone into, she came up just quietly actually when she was bringing the check, and she just said to me, "I've seen you through the last few years and you haven't looked happy. It's so good because you look happy."
In the 90s, Tom and Nicole were the couple. Red carpets, matching smiles, total control over their public image. They didn't just attend events together. They made movies together. Days of Thunder, Far and Away, Eyes Wide Shut. Their relationship wasn't just a marriage. It was a brand. They adopted 2 kids. They kept their private life private. They never fought in public, never gave tabloids anything to work with. From the outside, it looked rock solid. But here's the thing. What the world saw was the edited version. Behind closed doors, they were dealing with the same stuff every long-term couple deals with. Whose career matters more? How beliefs change over time? And what you give up without even realizing it. In 1997, Nicole called Tom her best friend. But years later, she admitted she felt protected in the marriage, not empowered. When they got married in 1990, they were at completely different points in their lives. Tom was 28, already a massive star, confident, established, certain about everything. Nicole was 23, fresh out of Australia, still figuring out who she was. She later said she fell madly, passionately in love, and saw him as this protective figure in a business that felt overwhelming. 5 years doesn't sound like a huge age gap, but it wasn't about the numbers. It was about where they were emotionally. Tom had already built his empire. Nicole was just stepping into his world. As Nicole grew up and started finding her own voice, the roles they'd fallen into didn't fit anymore. She wasn't the same person at 30 that she was at 23. But the relationship hadn't evolved with her.
I'm just a girl who's been put into a pretty extraordinary situations at time, and I'm kind of navigating my way through. And I fall over and make mistakes, pick myself back up and hope for the best.
They didn't get married as equals. One was fully formed, the other was still coming. And that imbalance, even though it wasn't intentional, set the tone for everything that came after. Tom Cruise in the 90s wasn't just successful. He was Tom Cruise. Top Gun, Mission Impossible, Jerry Maguire. His career dictated where they lived, when they traveled, and how their entire life was structured. Nicole was talented, really talented, but her career always came second. Not because she wasn't ambitious, but because his projects were bigger, louder, more urgent. They spent over a year locked down in London while Stanley Kubrick obsessively filmed. Nicole later said it was intense and disorienting, that she felt emotionally lost during that time. Over time, Nicole realized she wasn't building her own life. She was living inside Tom's. And once that realization sets in, closeness doesn't disappear loudly. It fades. At some point in their marriage, belief systems stopped being a background detail and became a dividing line. As Tom Cruise's commitment to the church deepened, it became central to his identity and daily life. Nicole Kidman, who grew up Catholic, never fully integrated into it. She explored it early on, but remained cautious. That difference wasn't a fight. It was a structural incompatibility. Tom sought alignment. Nicole sought autonomy. Reports after the divorce suggested the church viewed Nicole as a negative influence, even labeling her a suppressive person, reflecting a deeper tension between loyalty and independence. Tom and Nicole desperately wanted kids. But getting there wasn't easy. Fertility struggles, a miscarriage, real grief. They ended up adopting Isabella in 1992 and Connor in 1995. The adoption was meaningful, full of love, but it didn't fix what was already broken. Here's what people don't talk about. Kids don't heal a marriage. They expose every crack that's already there. Suddenly, it wasn't just about them anymore. It was about how they'd raise these kids. What values would they teach? What kind of life would they give them? And that's where things got complicated. Tom wanted the kids raised in Scientology. Nicole wanted them to have options, to choose for themselves. That wasn't a scheduling conflict. That was a fundamental disagreement about how to shape their children's worldview. After the divorce, both kids stayed with Tom. Both became Scientologists. And Nicole's relationship with them? It's been strained ever since. Kids make you love harder, but they also make every misalignment impossible to ignore.
Were you surprised? Because, there have been lots of media reports that you didn't even know it was going to happen. Because did you think you were always going to be married?
Yeah, it was a real marriage. I mean, there was enormous love.
And still is. And still is.
Oh, man. Oh,
come on!
Save me!
Their marriage was basically one long-distance relationship. Film shoots on different continents, weeks, sometimes months apart. And emotional distance? It didn't come from big fights. It came from missed calls, conversations that got postponed, the slow shift from actually talking to just coordinating schedules. By the late 90s, they were barely in the same place. Tom was filming Mission Impossible 2 in Australia, Nicole's home country, and they still couldn't sync up because of overlapping projects. Nicole later said she would have gone to the ends of the earth for him. But here's the thing, she was still all in when Tom had already checked out. When he filed in 2001, she was blindsided. She thought they were working on it. He'd already made his decision. When Tom Cruise filed for divorce on February 5, 2001, the public was stunned. Nicole reportedly was too. But sudden endings are rarely sudden internally. They usually follow months or years of quiet emotional conclusions. In many divorces, one partner reaches clarity privately, while the other is still trying to adapt, hope, or fix. Tom appeared to have emotionally processed the end long before the paperwork was filed. Nicole, still believing the marriage could be saved, experienced the ending in real time. Nicole later said she thought their life together was perfect and admitted she had been living in a bubble. That statement reveals the difference between the public image, the private silence, and the internal realities they were each carrying. There was no cheating scandal, no public hostility, no tabloid war. There was restraint. After the divorce, Tom spoke of Nicole with respect. Nicole continued to acknowledge that she loved him. Neither turned their shared history into a spectacle. That restraint matters because it reveals the truth. The love was real. It just wasn't sustainable. Some relationships don't end because something breaks. They end because continuing would slowly erode what remains. Years later, Nicole reflected that she fell in love very young and questioned whether she had been ready for marriage at that stage of her life. That perspective reframes the divorce not as failure.
Everyone said to me, "You're too young to get married." And I, of course, being willful and stubborn, went, "No, I'm in love, I'm getting married."
But as growth that arrived at different speeds. Some love stories don't collapse. They simply stop aligning. And choosing separation over slow emotional decay can be an act of clarity, not defeat.